Very good evening to everyone present here. My name is Piyush on behalf of Aranya, the Nature and Environment Society of Zakir Hussain Delhi College. I heartily invite everyone to this debate competition organized under the Vanyajeev Mahotsav. This event is to celebrate the Wildlife Week of the year 2021. A week ago, we began with a series of events, including a slogan writing competition, which was coupled with the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav initiative by Government of India and many other events. This will be our last events of Vanyajeev Mahotsav. Looking forward to articulate arguments. Now, I would like to invite our convener, Dr. Ratnam Kolvattal ma'am, to encourage your participants.
Thank you, Piyush. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Nature and Environment Society and my own, I welcome our esteemed judges, participants, students, and colleagues to the last event of Nature and Environment Society, the Wildlife Week celebration. I'm happy that Team Aranya came up with this initiative and put in a lot of effort, literally burning midnight oil, to organize the event. Back to back, so many competitions, and not to say that they were easy competitions, organizing judges, responding to participants, and the participation was tremendous. It was really large, much beyond our expectations. So my congratulations to them. I'm indeed grateful to all the judges for various competitions who found out time and supported us in this endeavor of ours. And the last one, this particular debate, I'm especially thankful to Ms. Balwinder Kaur from Aravali Biodiversity Park, Mr. Mohan Karakoti from Yamuna Biodiversity Park, and Mr. Zehidul Hussain from WII. I wish to put on record that it is a really cherishable moment for me in particular, because Mr. Zehidul Hussain happens to be my former student. And I'm really proud of the fact that Zehidul, you have come so far off in life and you are doing your PhD and you are sitting here as a judge. So welcome all of you. And I will not take much time and I like to hand over the mic to the organizers, and I must tell all the participants that we are anxiously looking forward to hearing you. You can imagine that debates always result in adrenaline rush, and that is what all of us are experiencing. So over to you guys. Best of luck, give your best, the participants, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And now on behalf of the society, I have the immense pleasure of introducing our participants to the esteemed panel of judges we have for today. I first invite Mr. Mohan Karakoti, who is a documentation officer of Biodiversity Park at CEMDE University of Delhi and has been associated with the Biodiversity Park program for the past 70 years. He is well known for his conservation-based photography and documentary films. His photographs have been published in various books, newspapers, magazines, booklets, and DDA annual calendar. He also exhibited photographs in Indore and Chandigarh exhibitions held on social and environmental issues. Recently, he received an award from the Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Delhi for his outstanding contribution in the field of wildlife conservation. He has delivered several lectures on wildlife photography and conservation through photography in various institutes in India. Welcome, sir. Now, I would like to next invite Mr. Zehidul Hussain, who is currently a senior project associate at the Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun, an alumnus of Zakir Hussain Delhi College. Mr. Hussain, after completing his graduation in life sciences from our college, later completed his master's from Doon University, Dehradun. He is currently doing his PhD on the movement of ecology of tigers in Maharashtra and trying to understand the dynamics of movement inside and outside protected areas. This doctoral thesis include understanding the impact of environmental features and anthropogenic pressure on tiger space use, activity and behavior in a human-dominated landscape. Welcome you, sir. And now we would like to invite Ms. Balwinder Kaur. She is presently a Nature Education Officer at Biodiversity Parks Program, CEMD University of Delhi. She has been working in the Biodiversity Park since 2005 and she has been approximately 30 hours of sessions of nature education through day visits or night camping imparting nature education to students or other officials from different backgrounds. She is also contributing to the development of different forest communities, especially the Herbal Conservatory in Biodiversity Park. Welcome to you, ma'am. We are grateful to our jury member for giving us time from their busy schedule. Without further ado, I would now like to pass on the baton to our moderator, Utkarsh.
Thank you, Piyush. Good evening, everyone. And my name is Utkarsh, and I will be your moderator for today. I would first like to acquaint the participants with the rules, which are as follows. The motion for this particular debate is more land should be dedicated towards national parks and sanctuaries. Speakers are free to debate either in Hindi or in English, but please restrain from speaking English. Each speaker will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to put forward their arguments. A timer will be presented on the screen and speaker will not be allowed to exceed the time limit. The speakers can make pointers and are not allowed to read a pre-written script. Each speaker has to speak either for or against the motion. Mixing of arguments is not allowed. Camera needs to be turned on and at least when you are speaking. Speakers are requested to text their queries in the WhatsApp group and the team will look into it. For further ado, we will have a stopwatch presented on the screen that will help you adjust with the timings. And for today, we have our first speaker, Mr. Abhijit Kumar Verma, and he will be speaking for the motion. Thank you. Abhijit?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
क्या मैं ऑडिबल हूँ?
Yes, Abhijit, you are very much audible.
तो मैं 3, 2, 1 बोलूँगा, आप स्टार्ट कर देना. 3, 2, 1 स्टार्ट. तो सबसे पहले सभी को शुभ संध्या. जैसा कि आज का विषय दिया है क्या है कि क्यों ज़्यादा लैंड्स हमें नेशनल पार्क और वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरीज को डिवोट करना चाहिए, और मैं इसके पक्ष में अपने वक्तव्य को रखने जा रहा हूँ. तो सबसे पहले हम ये जानते हैं कि नेशनल पार्क या जिसे हम राष्ट्रीय उद्यान कहते हैं वो होता क्या है. तो राष्ट्रीय उद्यान वो क्षेत्र जो किसी प्रोटेक्शन के लिए या किसी को अगर वो चीज कम है तो उसके लिए बनाया जाता है, और एक सेंचुरीज वो होता है जो पशु पक्षी और जो एनिमल जो इंडेंजर्ड है या उसके लिए एक सेटलमेंट बनाया जाता है. तो अब मैं इसके पक्ष में अपने पॉइंट रखने जाता हूँ कि क्यों हमें ये लैंड्स को बढ़ाना चाहिए. तो सबसे पहला मेरा ये पॉइंट है कि इंडेंजर्ड स्पीसीज, जैसे कि हमारा जैसे हमारा पॉपुलेशन बढ़ते जा रहा है, तो हम लोग ये जो फॉरेस्टेड एरिया है या उस एरिया में हम लोग अपना एग्रीकल्चर ये प्रोडक्शन इंडस्ट्री बढ़ाए जा रहे हैं. तो ऐसे में जो जानवर या पशु पक्षी अगर उस एरिया में रह रहे हैं तो वो उनका रहन सहन में दिक्कत होता है. तो वो लोग वो हम ये चाहेंगे कि वो आए नेशनल पार्क में रहे और सेंचुरीज में रहे, तो वो एक उनके लिए एक अच्छा जगह होगा. और फिर दूसरा ये भी है कि हंटिंग, जो हमारा जो बाहर में खुली में पूरी तरह से हंटिंग होती है, तो उस पर भी काफी हद तक ये रोक लग सकेगा. दूसरा ये है कि अगर हम नेशनल पार्क और वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरीज को अगर नहीं बढ़ाएंगे तो हो सकता है जो हमारे इंडेंजर्ड स्पीसीज जैसे कि अभी टाइगर्स हैं, एलिफेंट हैं, ये हो सकता है आने वाले 40-50 साल बाद वो एक्सटिंक्ट हो जाए, खत्म हो जाए. तो हमें हमारे जो आगे नेक्स्ट जनरेशन वाली पीढ़ी होगी उन्हें वो केवल किताबें में या
Abhijit, I think so you are having some network error. 1 second. 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 1 Abhijit. Abhijit, am I audible?
वो मेरा नेटवर्क का इशू हो गया था तो इसलिए मैं रुक गया था.
You can complete your argument.
तो मैं ये पॉइंट बोल रहा था कि जैसे कि अगर हम उन्हें अभी प्रिजर्व या नहीं करेंगे तो आने वाले 40-50 साल बाद वो खत्म हो जाएंगे. हमारे नेक्स्ट जनरेशन क्या, बस उन्हें किताबें या हम जो बताएंगे वही समझेंगे. और दूसरा सबसे बड़ा इसका फायदा है कि एक इकोनॉमिक राष्ट्रीय आय पे भी इसका सबसे बड़ा प्रभाव पड़ेगा. तो मैं एक उदाहरण लेना चाहूंगा यूएसए का. उसमें लगभग एक साल में 20 करोड़ लोग वहाँ टूरिज्म करने आते हैं. तो इससे वहाँ की राष्ट्रीय आय में बहुत बड़ा एक स्रोत है. तो अगर इंडिया में भी, भारत में भी हम चाहेंगे तो वो एक अगर बनाएंगे तो वो एक सोर्स ऑफ इनकम बन जाएगा. तो वहाँ के जो निजी लोग हैं, वहाँ के जो लोकल पीपल है, उनका काफी ज्यादा विकास होगा. वहाँ पे होटल्स हो जाएंगे, रेस्टोरेंट की व्यवस्था, ट्रैवल, ये सब वो लोकल एरिया कई ज्यादा हद तक डेवलप करेगा. और एक इसका सबसे बड़ा फायदा होगा कि टेम्परेचर जो तापमान है वो भी मेंटेन हो पाएगा. और दूसरा इसका एक इकोसिस्टम पे भी इसका पॉजिटिव असर पड़ेगा. इसके बाद मैं मेवानी को वक्त देता हूँ, खत्म करता हूँ. धन्यवाद
आपके शब्दों के लिए. We have our next speaker, Mr. Ritesh Sharma. Ritesh, are you there? Ritesh.
क्या मैं दृश्य एवं श्रव्य हूँ?
Yeah, you can begin.
तो मेरा नाम रितेश शर्मा है एवं मैं सदन के पक्ष में अपना वक्तव्य रखूंगा एवं हिंदी में मैं अपना वक्तव्य रखूंगा. तो जैसा कि विषय है कि क्या राष्ट्रीय उद्यान एवं वन्यजीव अभ्यारण्य के लिए अधिक भूमि समर्पित की जानी चाहिए. मैं पक्ष में अपना वक्तव्य रखता हूँ. सर्वप्रथम हमें समझना होगा कि राष्ट्रीय उद्यान एवं वन्यजीव अभ्यारण्य होते क्या है. अभ्यारण्य का अर्थ होता है, अभ्यारण्य का संधि विच्छेद है अभयधन अरण्य, अर्थात एक ऐसा अरण्य, एक ऐसा वन, एक ऐसा जंगल जो जहां पर जानवर अभय होके यानी कि भय मुक्त होके घूम सके. यह दोनों के लिए उचित है ताकि मानव को भी जानवर से खतरा ना हो एवं जानवर को भी मानव से खतरा ना हो. एवं राष्ट्रीय उद्यान सरकार के द्वारा घोषित एक भूमि होती है औपचारिक रूप से, जिसे एवं इनका उद्देश्य क्या है. वन्यजीव अभ्यारण्य एवं राष्ट्रीय उद्यान का उद्देश्य होता है कि प्राकृतिक संपदा एवं का ख्याल रखना एवं आगे आने वाली पीढ़ियों के लिए इसको संरक्षित करके रखना. जो हमारी विभिन्न प्रकार की जनजातियां हैं, जानवरों में विभिन्न प्रकार की जनजातियां, पक्षियों में विभिन्न प्रकार की जनजातियां, पशुओं में विभिन्न प्रकार की जनजातियां, उनको संरक्षित करके रखना. अब महोदय, सर्वप्रथम मैं यह बताना चाहूंगा कि वर्तमान में भारत में करीब 110 राष्ट्रीय उद्यान है एवं 104 राष्ट्रीय उद्यान एवं करीब 551 वन्यजीव अभ्यारण्य है. एवं महोदय मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि यह राष्ट्रीय उद्यान एवं अभ्यारण्य भारत के कुल क्षेत्रफल का 1 राष्ट्रीय उद्यान 1.23 एवं 2 से अधिक वन्यजीव अभ्यारण्य भारत के भौगोलिक क्षेत्र को कवर करते हैं. कुल मिलाकर ये 4.87% तक होता है, जो कि भारत के कुल भौगोलिक क्षेत्रफल का मात्र 4.87% है, जो कि बहुत कम है. मोदी, हमें चाहिए कि हम प्रकृति की सुरक्षा करें. आने वाली जनरेशन के लिए हम प्रकृति को संरक्षित करके रखें, विभिन्न प्रकार की जनजातियों को फलने फूलने का मौका दें. उसके लिए हमें आवश्यक है कि हमें इस भूमि को बढ़ाए जाने की आवश्यकता है. इससे महोदय लाभ क्या है? इससे कई लाभ है. इससे हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था को बढ़ावा मिलेगा. कैसे? वर्तमान में मैं यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका का उदाहरण देना चाहूंगा. वहां पर ओबामा सरकार ने एक रिपोर्ट जारी की थी. उस रिपोर्ट के अनुसार उन्होंने अगर राष्ट्रीय उद्यान एवं अभ्यारण्य के लिए $1 का निवेश किया है तो उन्हें उसके बदले में अर्थव्यवस्था में $10 का लाभ हुआ है, अर्थात 10 गुना ज्यादा लाभ हुआ है. तो इससे यही होगा कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा पर्यटक आएंगे एवं देश विदेश से घूमने आएंगे, जिससे रोजगार के अवसर बढ़ेंगे. इस प्रकार में ठहरेंगे, वह खाना खाएंगे, गाइड के साथ घूमेंगे, तो विभिन्न प्रकार के रोजगार के आयाम स्थापित होंगे एवं प्रकृति की भी सुरक्षा होगी एवं यह बाढ़, भूस्खलन एवं
आपका समय समाप्त हो चुका है,
तो यह प्रकृति के लिए हित में है। इसी के साथ मैं अपने वक्तव्य को विराम देता हूँ।
धन्यवाद रितेश. We have our next speaker who will be speaking against the motion, Mr. Yash Rathore. Yash?
Yeah, I'm audible.
Yeah, you're perfectly audible. You can begin now.
Okay. Good evening to all the jury members and all my dear friends present here. My name is Yash Rathore from BSc. I am from BSc Mathematics Honors, Zahid Hussain Delhi College. Is here to speak against the motion of that more land should be dedicated towards national parks and sanctuaries. The earth provides enough to satisfy every man's needs, but not for every man's greed. This famous quote by Mahatma Gandhi ji seems to be true if we see the conditions of our environment in the last few decades. Because we humans, just because of our greed, we are deteriorating our environment, and just because of our greed, we are deteriorating our environment continuously. Wildlife, nature's gift to mankind, is helping us in maintaining the ecological balance of the earth. And but due to the our human activities like mass killing of animals for their teeth, bones, and fur, skin, etc., had just disturbed the whole this ecological balance, and many of the wild species have become extinct also. So, in order to protect them, there are many laws and acts were made, and for this also national parks and sanctuaries were made to protect the flora and the fauna of the earth. But in the present, there are 104 national parks and 551 wildlife sanctuaries and 18 biosphere reserves and 88 community reserves are there in India, which is covering a total of 1,65,088.57 square kilometer of area. And there are total 870 protected areas for the protection of wild species in India. So according to me, why there is need of more national parks and sanctuaries? Are we are unable to are we have become unable to convince people about the rising problems of about the national about these wild species? So there are many problems related to the national park that in the recent research it is it is saying that there are many disadvantages of national parks also, that that many if the tourism is many people just go to visit the national parks, so it also we are also polluting that, and there are crumbling infrastructure also there, and there is a physical impacts which also disturbs the animal, so they have also some privacy in their life. And I think instead of the important thing that instead of giving more land to these national parks, we just aware people about that that we can also live with the wild animals. And thank you, Jess.
Thank you. Interesting area of thoughts. I hope that others will take into consideration. We have our next speaker, Kumari Khushi, and she will be speaking for the motion. Khushi?
Yes.
You can
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, but you're not visible.
Not visible.
Yeah, you can begin.
Good evening, one and all present here. Today I am Khushi and I am here to speak for the motion. So for today the question is, do we really need more national parks and wildlife sanctuaries? So for me, the obvious answer is yes. Protecting biodiversity is vital to safeguard our economy, our culture, spiritual and aesthetic values of species and ecosystem. National parks provide a safe home for native plants and animals. They are also very important for preserving biodiversity through supporting ecosystem and the flora within them. Protecting the environment through providing sustainable energy and considering the impact of climate change. And for national and local economies, through supporting tourism and the protecting agriculture. The wildlife of India is so diverse, and its national parks and bioreserves are a home to many endangered species, as we all know, like Royal Bengal tigers, red panda, the one-horned rhinoceros, and even the small leopards, and many more other species of flora as well as fauna. India boasts about 104 national parks, 551 wildlife sanctuaries, and about 18 biosphere reserves. National parks protect the best of our natural heritage and even our landscapes, our extraordinary wildlife, and our majestic forests. India is among the 17 mega diverse countries which together possess 60 to 70% of world's biodiversity. Together with other protected areas, they provide a backbone of core conservation areas that link the conservation effort across different tenures, supporting our diverse, healthy, and resilient environment. Even it also helps a country to boost its economic value. As according to a study, national parks provide a major boost to Australia's economy, up to $23 billion into the country every year. And it also ensures a local success and also provides a resilience to the climate changes, ensures food security and even water securities. So national parks are an integral aspect of intelligent use of natural resources. It is a course of wisdom to set an ample portion of our natural resource as a national park, thus ensuring our coming future generation may know the majestic of Earth as we know it today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kushi. That was quite a fact-laden speech. We have our next speaker. This is Anshul Sharma, and she will be speaking for the motion. Anshul?
एक बार कंफर्म कर दें आप कि आप मुझे देख और सुन पा रहे हैं.
Yeah, you are perfectly audible and visible as well. You can begin speaking.
3, 2, 1. सदन की गरिमा को मेरा नमस्कार. सदन पटल पर रखा गया विषय है राष्ट्रीय उद्यानों और अभयारण्यों के लिए अधिक भूमि समर्पित की जानी चाहिए. इस विषय के पुरजोर पक्ष में मैं अपना वक्तव्य रखने जा रहा हूं. महोदय, सर्वप्रथम हमें अंतर समझ लेना चाहिए कि दोनों में क्या अंतर होता है, राष्ट्रीय उद्यान और अभयारण्य. राष्ट्रीय उद्यान में पेड़ पौधों से लेकर के सभी जानवर की प्रजातियों को बचाने के लिए, संरक्षित करने के लिए बनाया जाता है. 1972 के वाइल्ड लाइफ प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट, इस अधिनियम के तहत राज्य सरकार या केंद्र सरकार यह पार्क बना सकती है और इसमें सभी प्रजातियों को जानवरों को संरक्षित किया जाता है. जबकि अभयारण्यों यानी वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरीज में विशेष प्रजाति, एक प्रजाति भी हो सकती है, वो एक से अनेक भी हो सकती है, इन सभी जानवरों की प्रजाति को बचाने के लिए सेंचुरी बनाई जाती है. भारत में नेशनल पार्क की संख्या 104 से 105 के करीब है. पिछले साल ये आंकड़ी 105 बढ़ा था. अब ये संख्या वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी यानी अभयारण्यों की संख्या भी 566 हो चुकी है, लेकिन इसे और अभी बढ़ाने की आवश्यकता है. आवश्यकता क्यों है, अब वो मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा कि हम क्यों कह रहे हैं कि इसकी जमीन और ज्यादा बढ़ानी चाहिए हमें. मतलब सर्वप्रथम हम ये समझना चाहिए, इसका उद्देश्य ही है कि हम प्रजातियों को बचाएंगे. आज हम देख रहे हैं कि भारत में 7 प्रजाति ऐसी हैं जानवरों की जो विलुप्ति के कगार पर पहुंच गई हैं, जिनमें एशियाई लाइन यानी एशियाटिक लाइन से लेकर के स्नो लेपर्ड तक शामिल है. इन्हें हमें बचाना है और हमें इन्हें दूसरे देशों से ना मंगवाना पड़े, ऐसी नौबत ना आए, इसलिए हमें ये बचाना है. महोदय, दूसरा तर्क जो मैं इसमें देना चाहूंगा कि हम अनुसंधान कर सकते हैं, रिसर्च कर सकते हैं इसमें लेकर के. जो देहरादून के इंस्टीट्यूट है वो रिसर्च करेगा, जिससे हम ये पता लगा सकते हैं कि कौन सी प्रजाति किस प्रकार की बीमारी से आगे बढ़ रही है, उसे बचाने के लिए हम कार्य कर सकते हैं. तीसरा तर्क अर्थव्यवस्था के लिए. अर्थव्यवस्था का मेरे दूसरे प्रतिभागी बता के गए कि अर्थव्यवस्था को फायदा होगा, लेकिन न सिर्फ अर्थव्यवस्था को फायदा होगा बल्कि जब वहां लोग जाएंगे, पर्यटन के उद्देश्य से जाएंगे, तो न सिर्फ पर्यटन के उद्देश्य से अर्थव्यवस्था को फायदा करेंगे बल्कि उसकी अहमियत भी समझेंगे कि आखिरकार क्यों इसे बचाने के इतने प्रयास किए जा रहे हैं. और चौथा तर्क मैं इसमें ये देना चाहूंगा कि पहाड़ी इलाकों में जमीन ज्यादा दी जाए, क्योंकि पहाड़ी इलाकों में जो वन्य जीव रहते हैं उन्हें प्राकृतिक आपदा आती है तो वो कहीं जा नहीं पाते हैं और उनकी मृत्यु हो जाती है. इसमें विलुप्त होने के कगार पर बहुत ज्यादा आ जाते हैं और ऐसे में सरकार भी बहुत ज्यादा ध्यान नहीं देती है पहाड़ी इलाकों में. जब पहाड़ी इलाकों में जब वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरीज यानी अभयारण्य या फिर राष्ट्रीय उद्यान बनाए जाएंगे तो सरकार का वहां पूरी तरीके से वहां पे नियम पालन करवाए जाएंगे और सरकार का पूरी निगरानी होगी, इनके बचाव किया जा सकेगा। यही नहीं महोदय, डेटा के अनुसार जब ये देखा गया 300-700 सैंपल में से 65% जानवरों की हत्या यानी शिकार खाने के लिए की गई, जिनमें से 35% को शिकार किया गया गैर कानूनी ट्रेड यानी व्यापार करने के लिए। कहीं ना कहीं दिखाता है कि इस पर रोक लगनी चाहिए। और रोक कैसे लगेगी? हम सीधे जनता पर नहीं छोड़ सकते हैं, इसके लिए हमें सरकार के पूरे नियम लागू करने होंगे। और सरकार से जैसे ही कोई पार्क बनाती है सरकार और आधिकारिक तौर पर, तो सीधे सीधे सरकार उसका संरक्षण करती है, अच्छे तरीके से उसका संरक्षण हो पाता है। तो मैं यही कहना चाहूंगा, सरकार को और जरूरत है कि इसको बढ़ाए, अभी 5% से 10% किया जाए जमीन का हिस्सा। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद अंशु, क्रांतिकारी विचारों को हमारे सामने प्रस्तुत करने के लिए। वी हैव आवर नेक्स्ट स्पीकर मिसेस शिया बजाज। शिया, यू आर हियर। Sia,
Am I audible?
yeah, you are perfectly audible, but you are not visible.
Just a second, I'm trying to turn on my camera. Am I visible now?
Yeah, you're perfectly visible and audible as well.
Okay.
You can begin now.
May I begin?
Yes, you can.
So, a very good afternoon to all present. This is Sia Bajaj, and I'm going to speak for the motion. Lester Brown once said that we did not inherit Earth from our ancestors, rather, we borrowed it from our children. We did not receive Earth to exploit it the way we want, rather, we are just short lived guardians of this treasure trove whose future guardians are waiting. National parks and wildlife sanctuaries are one such step towards providing a better and balanced earth to our future generations. In order to present my view, I would first like to discuss some of the pros of national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. Uh, Going by the statistics, there are 41,000 species which have been listed on IUCN Red List, of which 16,000 species have been categorized as endangered species. According to the recent study, changes in environment can trigger extinction domino effect, which means that if one species get disappeared, species which depend on that species will also face extinction. It is here where the wildlife sanctuaries and national parks play a very important role. Wildlife sanctuaries, they are refugees. They provide a refuge to the endangered species. They provide a refuge to the abused wildlife species and helps them proliferate and thrive. In order to have a balanced view, I would also like to present some of the cons of national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, and I would like to negate them one by one. One of the major negative impacts or the negative points that have been presented over here is the ecotourism, which means that there is interaction between the humans and the wildlife, and which creates garbage, and also the trails and the roads that are built in wildlife sanctuaries and national parks take away the habitat of the animals. But this doesn't mean that we do not require national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. Rather, it means that the government shouldn't think of national parks and wildlife sanctuaries as money minting projects. Another major criticism is that these national parks and wildlife sanctuaries require heavy investment. But if the countries can spend thousands of crores on nuclear bombs which destroy the earth, they can definitely spend some dollars on the national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, which will definitely create a better planet, which is the only planet we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sia. We have our next speaker, Ms. Akriti Patoria, and she will be speaking for the motion. Akriti?
हेलो,
Yes,
क्या आप सभी
Akriti, you are
मुझे
on.
देख और सुन पा रहे हैं?
Yeah, हम आपको सुन पा रहे हैं, बस देख नहीं पा रहे हैं.
I think I'm visible now.
Now you are visible and audible. You can begin now.
Okay. I'll start with 3, 2, 1, then only start my timer. 3, 2, 1. सदन की गरिमा को मेरा नमन. सदन पटल पर प्रस्तावित किए गए विषय अधिक भूमि राष्ट्रीय उद्यानों और अभयारण्यों के लिए समर्पित की जानी चाहिए कि पुरजोर पक्ष में मैं अपने कुछ तर्क लेकर प्रस्तुत हूँ. राष्ट्रीय उद्यान देशी पौधों और जानवरों के लिए एक सुरक्षित घर प्रदान करते हैं. राष्ट्रीय उद्यान पारिस्थितिक तंत्र और उनके भीतर वनस्पतियों के समर्थन के माध्यम से जैव विविधता के संरक्षण के लिए महत्वपूर्ण है. स्थायी ऊर्जा प्रदान करके पर्यावरण की रक्षा करते हैं और जलवायु परिवर्तन के प्रभाव को कम करते हैं और राष्ट्रीय और स्थानीय अर्थव्यवस्थाओं के लिए पर्यटन का समर्थन करते हैं, कृषि की रक्षा करते हैं. राष्ट्रीय उद्यानों और अभयारण्यों को अधिक भूमि समर्पित करने के अनेक फायदे हैं, जैसे प्राकृतिक, सामाजिक, सांस्कृतिक, आर्थिक, मनोवैज्ञानिक, स्वास्थ्य में फायदे आदि. सामाजिक दृष्टि से देखें तो राष्ट्रीय उद्यानों से पशुओं का मनुष्य से जो पुराना चला आ रहा संबंध था वो और भी गहरा हो जाएगा. एक और पशुओं को रहने के लिए अच्छा स्थान और वातावरण मिलेगा, वहीं दूसरी ओर उन्हें देखने के लिए आतुर लोग उनके बारे में वहां जाकर जान पाएंगे. सांस्कृतिक दृष्टिकोण से देखें तो राष्ट्रीय उद्यान और अभयारण्य किसी देश की सांस्कृतिक विरासत और पहचान होते हैं. रणथंभौर, जिम कॉर्बेट, कान्हा, गिर, काजीरंगा, इनको कौन नहीं जानता. विदेश से लोग इनको घूमने आते हैं. इससे पर्यटन को भी बढ़ावा मिलता है. कई बार तो इन उद्यानों की वजह से भी भारत पहचाना जाता है. ऐसे में जरूरी है कि हम इन्हें बचा करके रखें और भी स्थान नए उद्यान को बनाने के लिए, जिससे कि सांस्कृतिक विरासत को क्षति ना पहुंचे. इसके बाद यदि आर्थिक स्तर पर देखें तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने अभी अपने राष्ट्रीय उद्यानों को दी गई भूमि को बढ़ाया है, जिससे परिणाम स्वरूप राष्ट्रीय उद्यान ऑस्ट्रेलिया की अर्थव्यवस्था को एक बड़ा बढ़ावा देते हैं. प्रकृति आधारित पर्यटन हर साल देश में $23 बिलियन लाता है. रोजगार सृजन और आवास, ईंधन और भोजन पर खर्च किए गए धन के माध्यम से क्षेत्रीय समुदायों को, विशेष रूप से एनएसडब्ल्यू के राष्ट्रीय उद्यानों का दौरा करने वाले 35.5 मिलियन लोगों से लाभ होता है. अतः इससे यह भी साफ होता है कि राष्ट्रीय उद्यान और अभयारण्य हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था के लिए फायदेमंद है. प्राकृतिक क्षेत्रों का हमारे शारीरिक और भावनात्मक स्वास्थ्य पर गहरा प्रभाव पड़ता है. हमारे राष्ट्रीय उद्यान महत्वपूर्ण अभयारण्य है, जहां लोग समय निकाल कर जा सकते हैं, प्रकृति का आनंद ले सकते हैं, फिट हो सकते हैं, आराम कर सकते हैं और पुनर्जीवित हो सकते हैं. जबकि प्रकृति के अंतर्निहित सुंदरता कलात्मक, रचनात्मक और आध्यात्मिक प्रेरणा के स्रोत के रूप में कार्य करती है. मेरे विपक्षी साथी यहाँ पर अभी तर्क दे रहे थे, बहुत ही बड़ा चढ़ाकर बता रहे थे कि 1 लाख स्क्वायर एरिया हमने इनको दिया हुआ है, तो अब हमें और नहीं देना चाहिए. तो मैं उन्हें बता देना चाहती हूँ कि ये जितना भी एरिया आप बढ़ा चढ़ाकर बता रहे हैं, ये भारत के पूरे एरिया का केवल 5% है, जो कि बाकी देशों के मुकाबले में बहुत ही कम है. प्राकृतिक पर्यावरण के साथ संपर्क के लाभों पर शोध से पता चलता है कि इसका एक महत्वपूर्ण सकारात्मक मनोवैज्ञानिक प्रभाव होने की संभावना है, जो तनाव, क्रोध, हताशा और आक्रामकता को कम करने, सामाजिक बंधन के अवसर प्रदान करने और सीखने और मानसिक रूप से सेवा करने के लिए प्रदान करता है. अतः मेरे द्वारा दिए गए उपरोक्त सभी तर्क प्रमाणित करते हैं कि राष्ट्रीय उद्यानों और अभयारण्यों को और भी भूमि समर्पित की जानी चाहिए. धन्यवाद.
धन्यवाद आकृति, आपकी ऊर्जा काफी संक्रामक है. और now we'll move on to the next speaker, Mohammad Zahid, who will be speaking against the motion. Zahid.
Hello.
Yes. Zahid, I can't see you.
Hello.
No, just.
Am I visible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Visible and audible. You can
I start now?
Yes.
A very good afternoon, respect educators, faculty members, and my worthy opponents and audience. I am Mohammad Zahid, a second-year student of Zahid Hussain Delhi College, and I'm going against the topic, which is more land should be allotted to national parks and sanctuaries. First of all, I would like to clarify that I am not against the environment. I also need same oxygen and same ecosystem to survive. But my only concern is that allotment of more lands to national parks or sanctuaries is the only solution to establish a great ecosystem. I certainly think no. There are many problems which we need to deal, like the world population growth. Today, the world has currently 7.9 billion population, and is expanding at the rate of 20 million per year. So this is a huge amount, 20 million per year. How we will provide the house for the new generation? How we will provide them hospitals, colleges? Like in Delhi, the government said that we need another college like Delhi University. Many of us aspire to be a student of Delhi University, but we can't because there is shortage of seats. Shortage of seats means they don't have adequate infrastructure, and for that we need land. So today the world cannot use natural resources for a single purpose. We need to modify and we need to use them wisely. Currently, natural parks and national parks and wildlife sanctuaries cover 4.9% or 1,62,000 square kilometers of India's geographical area. Building more can be little a burden because they are huge products and they need huge budgets and time. Like we had heard from Fayyaz sir, he told that he need almost 10 years for that project. So apart from that, my alternatives that we can use them to clean our water bodies, beaches, or to plant for the plantation that are existing. We can use in the existing natural parks or sanctuaries. We can use them to build more smoke towers like we had in our CP. This can be the certain alternatives. Recently, in my native place, we had a plan. A government said that our airport will be built. That is in Purnia, Bihar. We will get an airport. In fact, we had an airport is as Air Force airport, but we will get a commercial airport. But till now, we can't. We don't have land to build, and the project has shifted from Purnia to somewhere else. So for these developments, we need land. I know we need land for the sanctuaries also, but we need also for this. So I only say that we should use the land quite wisely and think about that. And with these words, I would like to end my debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Zahid, for that kind speech. You quoted Fayyad sir. He's quite an inspiration for everyone. Our next speaker is Ms. Garima Singh. Garima? Yes, you are audible. No. Not audible. Yes, you are. Yes, Garima, you are audible and visible.
Okay.
You can begin now.
Speech in 1, 2, 3. Greetings to the House. Today I, Garima Singh, am present before you to speak in favor of the motion. More land should be dedicated towards national parks and sanctuaries. National parks provide the best of our natural heritage, stunning landscapes, extraordinary wildlife, and majestic forests. Together with other protected areas, they form the basis of our economic and social well-being, attract millions of visitors annually, and most importantly, help to protect our unique wildlife by acting as a refuge for threatened species. Although their primary purpose is the protection of biodiversity, national parks also deliver other invaluable economic, social, cultural, and health benefits. Future generations deserve the right to see these natural values intact, protected, and flourished as we do today. Our national parks form the cornerstone of biodiversity conservation in containing vital habitat that provides safe havens in which animals as well as plants can survive and thrive. Together with other protected areas, they provide a backbone of core conservation areas that can be linked by conservation efforts across different tenures, supporting a diverse, healthy, and resilient environment. Our national parks provide a major boost to India's economy, with nature-based tourism alone bringing in 18.75 million to the country every year. Regional communities in particular benefit from the lakhs of people who visit our national parks each year through job creation and money spent on accommodation, fuel, and food. Intact natural areas also provide a variety of resources and processes vital for human life and the economy. Our national parks and sanctuaries are alive with history and culture. Our national parks protect these vital and fragile places. Areas where the traces of a history can remain undisturbed. Today, our protected areas are still used by Aboriginal people in numerous ways, such as sources of food, tools, medicine, and trade, as well as in ceremonial and spiritual activities. These people deserve their land, and not just in a small portion of it. Natural areas also have a profound effect on our physical as well as emotional health and well being. In our increasingly frantic world, our national parks are important sanctuaries where people can take time out, enjoy, and get fit, relax, and revitalize. While nature inherent beauty serves as a source of artistic, creative, and spiritual inspiration. Considering these and numerous other benefits of national parks and sanctuaries, I do not see any sense in not increasing the area under jurisdiction of national parks and sanctuaries.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our national parks and sanctuaries are an essence of our geographical identity, and I am proud in supporting this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Garima, for exuberant thoughts. We have our next speaker, Mr. Ritik Asthana.
Please let me know if I'm audible and visible properly.
Yes, Ritik, you are perfectly audible and visible as well. You can begin.
I'll start in 3, 2, 1. Good evening, everyone. Today, I, Ritik Asthana, is here to speak in favor of the motion. That is, more land should be dedicated towards the national parks and sanctuaries. Paul Oxton said, and I quote, "Humankind must learn to understand that the life of an animal is no way less than our own. Protecting biodiversity is vital to safeguard our economy, our cultural, spiritual, and aesthetic values, and the intrinsic values of species and ecosystems. National parks provide a safe home for the native plants and animals. Now, I would like to put forward some reasons that why I'm saying that more land should be dedicated towards the national parks and sanctuaries. Point number one, because lots of animal species are going extinct and no one does anything to stop it. More land should be given to these reserves instead of giving it to the unproductive companies that just tear down all the trees so that they can just burn the wood and make it worse for everyone. Point number two, our planet depends upon it. Nature needs their own space. Humans should not interfere the way they are doing. There is more enough space for available for us. Point number three, we should have wildlife sanctuaries, and since humans are interconnected with animals, if animals will not be there, then we will not be able to survive. Point number four, with the ever growing threat of global warming, we need to be very much aware and we should do everything we can do to protect our forest and biodiversity. And with an increase in human population and encroachment of forest cover by humans, it becomes very much essential to allocate more land to the national parks and sanctuaries to protect our wildlife from poaching and man-wildlife conflict. In recent years, a lot of forest cover in and around the Bangalore has been commercialized. One such scenario was where a massive high-rise building was constructed by a reputed builder on the Slough outskirts. And the residents of that particular apartment complained about sightseeing a leopard after the sunset around the buildings and asked for immediate relocation of the animal to the forest. Now look at the hypocrisy that the building is 2 years old, but the leopard has been living there for close to around 5 years. Now whose fault it is? we should we should try to understand this thing, that do you feel the leopard should relocate himself or it's our fault? We will never understand this until someday we are evicted from our homes for no reason and relocated to a unknown land. If we didn't have national parks, we'll have river facing, valley facing villas and apartments, and if a tiger walks out of the apartment, we want to get rid of it. These animals are aggressive as a survival tactic, but they can't raise the voice and protest us like us if their homes are taken away. So, in an attempt to protect them and to secure their habitat, land should be given to the national parks and sanctuaries. With this, I land. Thank you.
Am I audible?
Sure. Yeah, Swati, you're audible. We have our next speaker. Ritik, do you have any problem? You weren't able to mention the last point.
Yes, sir. What you said?
It's okay. Your last few points weren't audible, so it's fine by you?
Should I repeat it? If you could give me 30 more seconds.
Yeah, you can have 15 more seconds. You can finish your point.
Okay, so I was just want to say that if we don't have national parks, we'll be having a river-facing, valley-facing villas and apartments. And if a tiger walks out of our apartment, we want to get rid of it. These animals are aggressive as a survival tactic, but they can't raise their voice and protect like us, and they cannot come on the streets because if their homes are taken away. So, in an attempt to protect them and to secure their habitat, more and more land should be given to the national parks and to the sanctuaries. That was my last point. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think it wasn't audible to few of the audience, so I thought you should repeat that. Thank you, Ritik. We have our next speaker lined up, Ms. Swati Chauhan, and she will be speaking for the motion. Swati?
Am I
Swati?
visible?
No, you are not.
Am I
Please
visible?
switch on your camera. No, you are not, Swati.
Am I?
Yes, now you are. You're audible and visible as well.
Shall I start?
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Swati Chauhan, and I would like to start, and I like to speak in the favor of the motion. As they often say, the beauty lies in the eye of beholder. But we all know, the world is filled with breathtaking views of the valleys, spectacular mountain tops, pristine rivers, and many more. Wildlife is a vital part of the life support system for the human race. That is why their existence is very important for the maintenance of the delicate ecological system. Sanctuaries and the national parks have been created as a last insurance against the total disappearance of the species. National parks are an area set aside by the national government to preserve the environment. Sorry. National parks protects the endangered flora and fauna. The most important thing about the national park is its ecosystem. Ecosystem is essential to save certain plants and animals, but also it should be responsible for the preservation of the entire biological beings. India has many national parks to protect its rich flora and fauna. Along with that, we are facing a prominent problem, that is increasing population. Due to the increasing population, the settlements are expanding, which are expanding and which are encroaching the wildlife, encroaching the habitat of the wildlife. Many hunters and illegal merchants have been found smuggling woods, plants, animal parts for the international export, which is really serious. And if not stopped, the specific species can go into existence. There are myriad of reasons why we need national parks. Preserving of a rich natural diversity is essential to the mankind's survival on the Earth planet. The national parks are rich alive with the history and culture, reflecting every aspect of the world. National parks needs their own space, and humans should not interfere. But it's kind of hard keeping in capitalist aspects back in the mind. We need to protect the forest and wildlife due to the. Sorry.
You have 15 seconds more. You can complete your point. Not an issue.
Okay, I would like to conclude that the national park protects the best of our natural heritage, stunning landscapes, extraordinary wildlife, aesthetic forests, and many more. Together with that, it provides basis for the economic and social well-being. It attracts attracts millions of visitors along with the and protects our unique Indian wildlife by acting as a refugee for the threatening species. So this threatening species, and I like to say that future generation should deserve very right to see this natural values intact and protected as we do see today. Thank you.
Thank you, Swati. Thanks a lot for your words. We have our next speaker lined up, Ms. Ishika Sharma, and she will be speaking against the motion. Ishika.
I hope I'm visible and audible.
Yes, Ishika, you are perfectly audible and visible as well.
All right, so I would like to start. Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I, Ishika, rise here to argue against the affirmative move today. Without any spiritual, emotional, or conventional orientation, I would like to directly come up to the facts and figures because I'm quite sure that already we have had enough of astonishing representations, cherry-picked quotations, parable of distortions, and misrepresentations. First, let us hop up to Google and type national park. The very first definition that will pop up on our screen is that national park is a park that is used for the conservation purposes. The line that many of our opponents, and I must say most of our opponents, is re-uttering. But I'm afraid that's not completely true. According to views of my fellow opponents, higher the land in the national park, higher the land in the wildlife sanctuaries, higher would be the conservation level, the preservation level of that particular country. According to this logic, Belize, which holds about 38% of its land under the national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, the Canada that holds around 466,000 hectares of its land under the national park, they should be at the top of the environmental preservation and wildlife sanctuary and the wildlife protection, even in biodiversity as well, which I doubt isn't true. Because according to the current census and indexes, the Environmental Protection Preservation Index, which was published by WEF, Belize has been on 81st numbers and Canada on 90th numbers.
Sorry. Your voice is a bit muffled. Please, if you can adjust your mic.
Sorry?
Your voice is a bit muffled. So please, if you can adjust your mic.
Am I audible? Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible now. The voice was a bit muffled. We will give you 15 seconds extra, the interruption time, not an issue. You can start now.
So, okay, so from the same point or from the beginning?
From the same. Yes.
All right, so I would like to continue with the same point. So according to the views of my fellow opponents, higher the land under the national parks and the wildlife sanctuary, higher would be the conservation and protection along with the preservation. According to this logic, Belize, which is a country which holds around 38%, the highest percentage of land under its national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, Canada, which holds about 466,000 hectares of land under the national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, should be at the top of environmental preservation, wildlife protection, and biodiversity, which I doubt is not true because according to the current censuses and indexes, the Environmental Protection or Preservation Index that was being published by WEF, Belize was ranked 81st and Canada was being ranked 90th in number in terms of environmental preservation. When we talk about the number of national parks, China certainly is above everybody. China holds the second highest position in terms of the number of national parks it holds. It has 208 national parks, but sorry to say, it is at 172 EPI score. That is, it is just 8 countries above being the least having the country having the least wildlife protection. Even the Living Planets Index by WWF says that since 1970s, biodiversity and the wildlife has been decreasing. And it's sure it is same for India as well. But my opponents would be thinking that is because the land under the national parks and the wildlife sanctuaries has been decreasing.
Thank you,
That's not
Ishika.
true.
That was really
Because in 1970, I would like to end up. In 1970s, national parks in India were 5 in number, and now they are 104. But still, 68% of the biodiversity has been degraded. I will take the last seconds of my time to say that rather than increasing the land in the national parks, which would certainly not be important and useful, as according to census 2018 shows that national parks meant for the protection of tigers had no tigers left in them. Let us focus on developing national integrity between the humans and wildlife, improving the bond and improvement of the present system.
sorry
Thank
to
you.
interrupt, Ishika. You're quite ahead of time. Thank you so much, Ishika. And now we have our next speaker lined up, Ms. Divya Mangla, and she will be speaking for the motion. Divya?
Am I visible?
No, Divya, you're not visible.
I have. Am I visible now?
No, Divya.
I'm visible.
Yes.
I'm visible in
Divya
the.
is visible.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, you.
perfectly audible and visible. You can begin now.
Good evening. Can you pin my screen?
It is spotlighted, Divya. You may begin.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. No matter where we go and what we do, home is always the best destination that we could ever have. Keeping this in mind, these national parks and wildlife sanctuaries are home to our wildlife. I'm going to propose my views in favor of the debatable topic that do we need more national parks and wildlife sanctuaries? As we all know, Earth is home to millions of other species other than human beings, and they have equal rights. So, do you think that we are not encroaching on their rights? Do they don't need the fundamental rights of equality, freedom, and free right against exploitation? When we talk about national parks, so they are about 107 in number and covering about 1.33% in area. I mean, we have this much houses in our locality. So not only that, they are plagued by several problems such as poor management and infrastructure, and most of these are without trained manpower. Recently, several incidents surfaced in the news, which invoke the fear among animal lovers, like, as you know, Gangetic dolphins was mercilessly killed and beaten in the areas of UP. And Supreme Court also pronounced that all the transmission lines should be going underground because the great Indian bustard, which is being endangered species, is killed owing to its bad eyesight, and it could not see the transmission lines from the far away. There is an urgent need of rewilding India. You must be wondering, what is rewilding? Rewilding is basically ecological restoration, not to be confused with afforestation, because when we plant trees in areas such as mangroves and marshlands, it threatens the indigenous species because the invasive species encroach on their habitat. Lastly, I would say that we need to become the voice of the voiceless. We need to become the voice of the voiceless. As you know, when we are not the only one link in the ecosystem. When we harm the other links, we harm the chain altogether. So on this wildlife week, we need to remember that we are contributing We have to conserve, we have to take action to conserve our wildlife. Thank you.
Thank you, Divya, for your valuable words. She was the last speaker for the day. And with this, we conclude our debate. Now I would like to request our judges, Ms. Balwinder Kaur, Mr. Zehidul Hussain, and Mr. Mohan Karakoti to share their valuable thoughts.
Should I start then? Am I audible?
Sir, you are perfectly audible and visible as well.
Dear faces from Zahid Hussain College, especially ma'am. The series of email, then I then ma'am could easily recognize me from my face. Thank you, ma'am, if you are hearing me. And it was a wonderful evening listening for different participants, and most of them have given their views for the motion, and two of them I think spoke against the motion. All the participants has covered the points they think to justify why more land should be dedicated toward national parks and sanctuaries. Speakers for against the motion also put forward their thoughts, and it's not that judging is very difficult in certain cases, because we all have our own bias thoughts on whether a particular conservation land should be increased or decreased. But I think there are different aspects of judging a debate competition, and I think people or participants who have really made forward why or against. So I think the organizers will be summing up the marks, and few points I would like to just put forward time, 2-3 minutes.
Yes, why not? Go ahead, Zed.
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, I am working in a system where I am looking about tigers movement in both, in national park or a sanctuary or any kind of reserve and outside PAs. So a protected area may be a national park or a wildlife sanctuary or tiger reserve. It depends upon the status. So I have been working closely on different last 10 years looking at this aspect of protected areas and outside PAs. So it's a burning topic that I'm thankful that these organizers came up with such a interesting topic for debate, and it requires a ample of perspective to come up to a different perspective to speak for or against it. So I congratulate all the participants. I think most of the participants covered their topics within the given time period, and it's an I mean, since it is an online platform and there were certain issues with the connectivity, but minimizing that, all the speakers were well versed with their topics. They covered the topics entirely from from ecosystem services, from economy, from social aspects, and other related importance. So we'll come up with the results to the organizers. We'll share it through the whatever the way they have given us. And I am very thankful to the organizers as well as Zahid Hussain team. And it's a great honor to see all you people again together. I'm just live from Dehradun, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words. Ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I wanted to congratulate to the team of Zahid Hussain College, my co-judges, and all the participants. I am very glad that I am part of this program. In my eyes, everybody is winner. I am completely agree with Zehidul that it's very difficult for we all to judge who is the winner. But in my eyes, everybody is winner because they performed very nicely and they put their points very nicely, and I appreciate all this. Again, it's a responsibility on we all three, and we have to find out very minute difference So please don't lose your heart. In our eyes, you are winners. I again want to say, because I don't want that if anybody will not get anything, maybe they will get emotional or like that. So please don't think. In our eyes, you are winners, winners, and winners. Uh, Team of Zahid Hussain College, they did a wonderful job. Celebration of Wildlife Week is a very proud moment, and I think, ma'am, please continue this, because in this materialistic world, we all are engaged our own issues, our own problems. So definitely, you invite us, and we will come, and we will enjoy, and we will join you. And your college is visiting to Biodiversity Park, and this is the first time we are visiting to your place, and we feel very proud. Once again, thank you to Ratnam ma'am, thank you to Mr. Utkarsh, and thank you to Dr. Saurabh for their interaction, for their coordination and cooperation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Valuable words. Mohan sir.
Hi, this is Mohan from Biodiversity Parks program, and it's really great pleasure to hear all of you. And thanks for inviting us as a judge for this session. And it's great session. Even we got some new ideas from the kids, at least what they are thinking about the expansion of wildlife sanctuaries and national parks. But I think we have not discussed with them the actual what is the meaning of that. So, but they have speak well. I have give some point to some students. Shayad Akriti and one Garima Singh speaks are very well. They give very good knowledge and even information. What is the role of national park and borders and why we need biodiversity? So it's really great. And thank all of you and Saurabh also who give us opportunity to join your team. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank you
you,
all
sir.
the judges. Mohan, Balwinder ma'am, Zehidul sir. Thank you that you people accepted our request to become a judge for this event. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, Utkarsh, now you can continue.
Thank you, judges, for your valuable words. And
मैं सिर्फ एक बात कहना चाहती हूँ. Thank you, Dr. Saurabh, because we found our old student who had forgotten us, and we were able to see him again after so many years, and didn't even know that he was in WII. A couple of years back, we did go to WII with our students, and we didn't know that he was there. So thank you for connecting us with our old student.
Yeah, thank you very much. I've been, last couple of years I was in field working for my PhD, and right now I am in Dehradun only, and I request you, ma'am, and all the people from life sciences or zoology or botany to visit Dehradun again, and then we can have more interactive session on wildlife or wildlife conservation.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Sure, we'll be happy to visit WII.
Yes, I'm always a mail away, and my number is also with Saurabh sir, so I can always facilitate in a student coming here and have an interactive session with other faculties also, and in terms of what research are going on currently in India and different views on that. We can think in near future. Thank you.
Yeah, we can plan in collaboration also. We can share some thoughts. We can even plan some internship also. So yeah, we'll let you know.
Even BSc or BSc people can come and join for a minimum period of 1 month, 2 months say internship. So this gives the opportunity for them to understand, to go more into depth into your masters, or even master's student can also join as a volunteer or a intern here.
How do you take internship? I mean, are they through competitive exam or something?
No, ma'am, it's different ways. You can directly contact the concerned faculties, whether they are interested in taking volunteers or intern. And moreover, if there's a master's students who has to go through a dissertation, or MSc dissertation, they can also be a affiliate researcher here to concerned faculty.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, judges, for the kind words. And I would like to request everyone to please turn on your cameras so that we can capture a snapshot of the participants, please, if you can. Participants: Ritesh, Divya, Garima, Yash, Anshul. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And now I would like to pass it on to Mission, who will be offering a token of gratitude to our judges. Thank you very much. Mission.
Thank you, Utkarsh. On behalf of Aranya, it is indeed a great privilege for me to be presenting a humble graphic artwork as a token of gratitude to our esteemed panel of judges, Mr. Zehidul Hussain, Ms. Balwinder Kaur, and Mr. Mohan Karakoti. Thank you, judges, for gracing our occasion. I would now pass it on to Pramit.
Thank you, Misam. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So, thank you, Misam, once again, and everyone for being with us throughout this delightful evening. It has really been a wonderful week for Aranya to have hosted Vanyajeev Mahotsav. Our wish was to generate a glint of purpose amongst our peers on the pressing situations that prevail in wildlife today. And on the behest of the overwhelming participation that we have received throughout the week, I would like to inform that not only did we have participation from the University of Delhi, but we were also able to touch international corridors this time. In the end, I hope that by hosting Vanyajeev Mahotsav, we were able to achieve the purpose of making students and allow them to realize the importance of wildlife and allow them to connect that with their immediate environment as well. I, on behalf of Aranya, extend my heartfelt appreciation to our participants today for their wonderful enthusiasm. I would once again like to extend our gratitude to the panel of judges for being an integral part of this competition today. And I would also like to thank our principal, Dr. Arora, and to Dr. Ratna ma'am, our convener, and Dr. Ruchi for guiding us at each step of this event. I would also like to specially thank the organizing team, which had to burn the midnight oil in order to make this week to end on such a grand note. Regarding results, it will be announced on our social media handles, so please do follow them for results. And thank you once again, everyone, for being a part of this event and making it a grand success. Thank you, everyone. We arrive at the end of the event, and Vanyajeev.